Hello, welcome to When the Smoke Clears. I am the Recovery Plug. What's happening, man? I hope you guys are doing great today. I know my day's going just fine. Check this out. If you would, please join me in a moment of silence, followed by a serenity prayer for the addict who still suffers, and for those of us who are still bound down to some sort of struggle that keeps us from moving forward in this toxic life that we live in, man. So yeah, if you would, please join me in a moment of silence. God, grant me serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, wisdom to know the difference. All right. Well, it's now that we got that squared away, well, let's get this thing started, man. So how's it going? Check this out, man. What I wanted to do for you guys today is talk about um, the practice of love and kindness and compassion in the process of your recovery, and how practicing love, kindness, and compassion, how that transgresses your recovery into this totally different lifestyle, and how it could accelerate your recovery as well. You know what I mean? Because you know, I know myself personally that in the world of addiction, in the things that keep you bound down to this habitual pattern that you have, it seems to uh, it seems that you live through this hardened mind that you only live one way and your mind only thinks a certain way, and it's either that way or the highway, right? So it's it can be challenging to transform that mindset when in early addiction or in early recovery, excuse me. And so that's what I want to talk about, is how practicing compassion and love and kindness in your daily routine, in your everyday life, and how that could accelerate your recovery process and into this breaking that bondage of those habitual patterns that you might have, regardless of what they are. You know what I mean? And they could be anything that is of a habitual pattern that is of negative or bad consequences. Then you know that that's something that you need to rid from your lifestyle, right? And it's not something that is healthy to keep in your everyday routine. Let's just say that. And so anyway, what I want to do is I got this little thing here that I'm gonna be kind of going off of this handout, and this is a mindfulness handout. And what it says here, it says, "What is loving kindness?" And it says, "Loving kindness is a mindful practice designed to increase love and compassion, first for ourselves and then for our loved ones, for friends, for those we are angry with, for difficult people, for enemies, and then for all beings. Loving kindness can protect us from developing and holding on to judgments, ill will, and hostile feelings toward ourselves and others." And yeah, so that is one thing, is that love and kindness is it's actually it's a habitual way to act in a physical and a mental sense. You know what I mean? And it is something that, gosh, I mean, I don't know what the statistics are or anything like that, but I know that it's a very hard thing, or if it seems to be something that most of us in this world have a difficult time doing. You know what I'm saying? How many? It just. I mean, let's just go out on a limb and talk about just in your immediate little circle, in your little area, wherever you reside. People have neighbors, and people have people that they see on the daily, but how many times are you really interacting in a loving and kindful way. Hardly ever. You know what I'm saying? You hardly every now and then you see a neighbor, you wave at them, but you know, how often do you actually go out and talk? Hey man, how you doing? Are you okay? How's your family? And you know, I'm your neighbor and I'm here for you, man. Anything you need, you know what I'm saying? Don't hesitate to come knocking on my door. You know, we don't live that way anymore. You know what I'm saying? I can remember when I was a kid and you could walk down the neighborhood and go to 10 different houses along the road there and be welcomed anywhere, you know what I mean? And you knew the people and they knew you. You know what I'm saying? And just the interaction of an everyday thing that you're showing love and kindness because you're interacting with people, you care about somebody, you say hi to them, you go help them with their yard or whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? And it isn't like that in today's world, and I believe that that's one of the big things that keeps people bound down to their whether it's in whatever it is that's keeping you bound down. I mean, for myself, I mean, I know it was the addiction to drugs, you know, the alcohol and drug addiction and the depression and the PTSDs and the trauma and you know, all those kind of things. You know what I'm saying? It keeps you in this little incubator, if you will, of your own world, and you don't want nobody in it. You know what I mean? You don't want nobody in it because you don't want nobody to see you. You know what I'm saying? And then when you're doing that, you can't show love because you're too busy keeping everybody out. You know what I'm saying? And you're wallowing in your own misery. You know what I mean? And it's just those kinds of things that you have to be vulnerable. You have to be open-minded, willing, and truthful to a change if you want the change. If you want to get out of that bad habitual pattern. And let me go on and you know, right here it says, practicing loving kindness. Practicing loving kindness is like saying a prayer for yourself or someone else. As when you are asking or praying for something for yourself or others, you actively sending love and kind wishes and recite in your mind words and phrases that express good will toward yourself and others. Goes on to say loving kindness, and these are some, basically it says loving kindness instructions, kind of giving you a something that you can do perhaps. It says choose a person and to send love and kindness toward. Do not select a person you do not want to relate to with kindness and compassion. Start with yourself. Or if this is too difficult, with a person you already love. Sitting, standing, or lying down, begin by breathing slowly and deeply, opening the palms of your hands, gently bringing that person to mind, and radiate love and kindness by reciting a set of warm wishes such as, may I be happy, may I be at peace, may I be healthy, may I be safe, or another set of positive wishes of your own. Repeat the script slowly and focus on the meaning of each word as you say it in your mind. If you have distracting thoughts, just notice them as they come and go and gently bring your mind back to your script. Continue until you meet yourself immersed in loving kindness. And it says, gradually work yourself up through loved ones, friends, those you are angry with, difficult people, enemies, and finally all beings. For example, use a script such as, may John be happy, may John be at peace, or and so on. Or John, may you be happy, may you be at peace, and so on. As you concentrate on radiating love and kindness to John, practice each day starting with yourself and then moving to others. And that to me is a very, very good exercise. And what that is oh gosh, I can't turn the page here. Let me go back here and And you can also do a thing that's called self-talk. And it goes, what is self-talk? Self-talk is your internal dialogue. It can be internal in your head or external, saying it out loud. And it reflects your thoughts, beliefs, questions, ideas about yourself, others, and the world around you. And also ask, why does self-talk matter? Your self-talk, whether you are aware of it or not, either sabotages or supports you. We all have an inner critic. At times, this little voice can actually be helpful and keep us motivated toward goals. Like when it reminds us that what we're about to eat isn't healthy, or what we're about to do may not be a good idea. However, this voice can often be harmful than helpful, particularly when it is excessively negative. It goes, what is negative self-talk? Basically, negative self-talk is an inner dialogue you have with yourself that harms your ability, that harms your ability to believe in yourself and your own abilities, and to reach your potential. Negative self-talk degrades your confidence and limits your ability to make positive changes. Negative self-talk is not only distressing, but it can negatively impact your performance and success. And here's a couple of examples of negative self-talk is when you're telling yourself things like, I'm no good, or why can't I ever succeed, or no one understands me, or I've let people down, or I'm so weak, or I'm not worthy of love, or I can't do anything right, or I can't stand this anymore, or what's wrong with me, or I hate myself, I'm worthless, I'm a failure, I deserve bad things, I'm disgusting. When you use those types of negative self-talks upon your own self-dialogue on the daily, well, what that does is that sets a tone. You know what I'm saying? That sets a tone for you. And that tone could be set minute by minute. It could be set for the way your day goes, on the every hour. If you're just speaking these things into existence, well, those are the things, when you're saying things like this, those are the things that are registering in your brain, in your mental thought process. And the more you get those types of things into your mental thought process, and you're saying these things out loud or just to yourself, those are the kind of actions that you're going to get. Those are the kind of energies that you're going to get. So you got to be very, very aware of how you talk. You know, speaking, the power of words has so much energy in it that they can bring, families down. They can bring people down like immediately. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just think of just as an example, see how powerful the words were when, we'll just say, like when Adolf Hitler gave his speech to the people in his country. His words were so powerful that it accumulated this movement. You know what I'm saying? That was so devastating. You know, the powers, like Martin Luther King has these words that were so powerful that it was another movement. How it ignited people, you know what I'm saying? So your words, man, are like a double-edged sword, you know what I mean? They have so much energy that, you can actually, it could be detrimental to yourself if you are not aware of that. And that's what it means to practice the mindfulness in loving kindness, and that increases your love and compassion, because when you have love and compassion for yourself, then you can start radiating that on an outward thing towards other people, because now you're feeding yourself, your mental thought process is getting fed nothing but things of love, kindness, and compassion. That those are the kind of actions and those are the kind of things that are going to progress out of you. And it's very it's a very hard thing to do when you're stuck in this hardened mind and of this habitual action that you're doing that keeps you bound down and that keeps you in this depressed mode, in this anger mode, in this, I'm not, it just will never happen for me type mode, or just different scenarios, you know what I'm saying? And it's all about how you fix those up in words, and how you allow the positive things into your mental thought process. You know what I mean? Because it's it can be a windy road, you know what I mean? And it can be an up and down, you know what I'm saying? It just all depends on how much effort and how much action and how much of this window you're going to allow to be open. Because the window of vulnerability is something that nobody likes to keep wide open. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to be vulnerable to anything. Everybody's boom, got their window closed, ain't nobody coming in. But I'm here to tell you that if the window's not cracked open, you'll never change. If you never allow something to come in to give you that accessibility, that help, that crutch to find new and better ways, then you'll never get out of the misery. You know what I'm saying? And 99% of the time, you'll find out that the answer to the progression, the answer to recovery is in the misery. And it's just the way it is. You know what I mean? It's just those are part of the laws of nature. You know what I'm saying? It's like the hermetic laws in a sense that if the pendulum goes left, it's gonna come right just the same way. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same thing. Like I said, if you put negative and dark thoughts into your head, into your mental thought process, well, then those are the types of actions that you're going to stay in. You know what I mean? You're never going to get a positive reaction to dark and negative things that you're allowing yourself to get consumed into your mental thought process. There's nothing ever positive that's going to come out of that. You have to understand that. You have to understand that if you want to change in your recovery, if you want to change from this habitual bad things that you're doing, it all starts with a healthy mental thought process. There's no way around that. You know what I'm saying? There's no way around that. And it's not an easy road to attain for some people. You know what I'm saying? For some people, it's easier than others. You know what I mean? It just all depends on how vulnerable, how open-minded, how willing, and how truthful you want to be to the new change. You know what I'm saying? So it's imperative to understand that, because the way this thing was talking about this loving kindness instructions part that we read here, what that was a process of a meta meditation. A meta meditation basically is a guided meditation. And you can look these up, you know what I mean? Meta meditations are really, really good to help you dissolve that habitual mindset. You know what I'm saying? Because it starts planting little seeds into your mind when you do these meta mindful meditations, because it's giving you this positive instruction and you're following this instruction. And if you do this on a repetitive basis, you're going to find out that it's going to start getting easier and easier for you to do these meditations and to bring in those thoughts. You know what I'm saying? To bring in those healthy and those healthy, good, positive thoughts of good, divine, and karmic energy. You know what I'm saying? And it's ultimately that is where it all starts. You know what I mean? Recovery doesn't start with anything else but a mental thought process. That's just the way it goes. You know what I'm saying? We don't do anything without that mindset. And the more that you put positive and encouraging wisdom into your mental thought process, that is exactly what you're going to start getting out. Those are the actions that are going to start coming out of your, in your efforts, and the things that you're going to do on the daily basis, and you'll find out that you'll be changing gradually, man. Because you know, like I said, I'm living proof of that. You know what I mean? There's no way in hell that I would have been, a few years back telling, been sitting, that I would have been saying, I'm going to be doing a podcast video on recovery and spirituality. You know what I mean? I would have just, that was not how I was thinking in the days of addiction. You know what I'm saying? My mental thought process was hard, and it was, we gotta, have a certain mental thought process to live a lifestyle like that. You know what I mean? And nowhere was positivity and of divine energy anywhere part of that. You know what I mean? It was all, all fast and of bad energy. You know what I'm saying? Even though it seemed like it was a good time, it wasn't. You know what I'm saying? It just ultimately, ultimately, everything's of impermanence, so it don't last forever. And that's the thing, is that to adopt a new lifestyle and a new mental thought process, that is the whole thing in adopting a new lifestyle, is changing the way you think. And that's where it all starts. You know what I'm saying? So it's imperative that you understand that, and that you give yourself that chance. You know what I'm saying? Give yourself that chance, because you're worth it, just like I was worth it, man. You know what I mean? And you can do it. I wholeheartedly believe that. You know what I'm saying? And because the statistics for people who start a treatment center or start a recovery path without the right tools, man, you go right back out to the addiction, man. You go right back out to that habitual process that you're so used to. You know what I'm saying? So it's imperative that you understand that you're gonna have to be open-minded, willing, truthful, and vulnerable to new things, man, and allow yourself to be teachable, because that's the only way to change that mindset. You know what I'm saying? It's not this. There's not a magic pill, a magic wand, or anything like that can happen. It's work. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing that I have figured out in this journey of recovery and spirituality, is that it's not for the lazy, man. You know what I'm saying? And I'm here to tell you that it's a chore. You know what I'm saying? But it has to be. You know what I'm saying? Because if it was easy, everybody would go out and get high, because they knew that it's so easy to stop. No, it's not. You know what I mean? And to change that mental thought process, it is exactly that, a process. But it's of good nature. You know what I mean? And it's something that can be attainable in a fair amount of time. You know what I'm saying? It's not something that, for some people, 30 days is good. For some people, 90 days. For some people, 6 months. For some people, it's longer than that. And for some people, it's, it could be a miracle. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? It's just whatever the energy, divine energy has in store for you, that's it. But you're never going to know if you don't try. You know what I'm saying? And so if you just remember, if you do nothing, man, guess what? Nothing happens. So you have to do something about the situation. If you want to change, if you want a better lifestyle, if you want to be healed, then you have to be willing to put in the work. And getting connected with the community is very, very helpful in that process, man. And I'm not speaking through experience, because I've spent a lot of time trying to attain a road of recovery in the past on my own, just by, I can do it, and I'm, I don't need nobody's help, but it took me a long time to understand that I have this disease. You know what I'm saying? I have a disease of addiction, and if I try to live my life in my way, my wing knows what it likes, and I like the addiction. You know what I'm saying? I enjoyed getting high, so I got used to it, and that's what I always knew would help me not feel things and that sort of thing. So it was an easy road, an easy way to remove myself, for a minute from these mental things, and you know, come to find out that it just drug me deeper and deeper into this dark hole, and the only way to get out of it was to come to terms with the actual situation, number one, and come to terms with, hey, you know what? There's no way you're going to change unless you change this first, unless you change your mental thought process. And whatever you need to do that, you need to do it. And for me, it was getting into these communities. You know what I mean? Diving into these communities and adopting practices that other people who have gone before me and have many, many years of sobriety, and adopting some of the things that they do. And for myself personally, in today's world, I mean, my journey is that spirituality. You know what I mean? Is adopting things in the spirituality. And for myself, I practice Buddhism, and that works for me. You know what I'm saying? That works for me, and I'll continue to do it. And add more things if I have to. You know what I'm saying? And not only that, but I attend many peer support groups. You know what I mean, of different kinds, and those I have to do that. That's part of my journey, because if I get into this isolation mode, and I know exactly where my mind goes when I'm not involving myself in something. You know what I'm saying? My mind is automatically, okay, it's addiction time. You know what I mean? It's let's go do this, let's go do that. And if you have to replace those negative thoughts with positive and spiritual ones, that I don't have that problem right now. You know what I mean? I don't have that problem where it just pops into my head and, okay, I want to do this or that. No, because I'm constantly doing something spiritual, energetic, something of karmic divine nature. You know what I'm saying? And because I keep doing those on the daily basis, I do all of those things just the same way like I did the addiction. You know what I'm saying? I give it the same amount of energy because I have to. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I have to, because if I consumed every single day in the addiction, that was my mindset 24 hours a day. It's using drugs, selling drugs. And I have to do the same thing in my recovery, is keep it 24 hours a day. You know what I'm saying? I have to be involved in something with positive and divine and spiritual nature, because that is just how my mindset is now. You know what I mean? And I don't want to go back to that. You know what I mean? To that old negative way. But yeah. So it's a process, man. You know what I'm saying? It's a process, and again, this loving kindness instructions part was part of the meta meditation. If you don't know what meta meditation is, look it up sometime. It's a guided meditation, basically, is what it is, and it's really, really helpful. And like I said, if you can't show love and kindness to anything or anybody, man, if you don't love and show love and compassion for yourself first. You got to care about you, man. You know what I mean? And that's where it all starts. And when you care about you, that means you care enough that your mental thought process will start changing, man. And the more good, divine, and spiritual karmic wisdom that you start gathering into your own mental thought process, you'll see that the road will start getting easier. The days will start getting easier and easier for you, and your life starts transforming, man. You know what I'm saying? And it's just a great feeling. But anyway, I guess that's all I got for you guys for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, man, if you would please at this time give me a thumbs up, shoot me a comment. If you please hit that subscribe button. And the only way that we can spread the message is to share the channel, man. So yeah, if you would please subscribe to my channel, I'd greatly appreciate it. And I guess until the next time, when the smoke clears, I am the recovery plug.